ACS Rookie Rumble. Let's talk about it. It just ended. The good, the bad, and even some of the ugly. So let's start by talking about the fact that all in all, it was an amazing event. The ACS Rookie Rumble, for those who may not know, is a once-a-year fighting event for rookie fighters, normally under 18 months in armor. So 18 months from your first fight, doesn't matter kind of what fight you did. It's meant to give new people a chance to fight against other new people. And normally most people get one Rookie Rumble, maybe you get two depending on the timing of exactly when you started. This year was a little different. Because of COVID, they extended the deadlines. I believe ended up being like 2 years and 4 months or something like that. I don't know exactly the dates because it got pushed again. The actual event was supposed to be in January, so it was 2 years as of that date. Then it got extended out because we pushed the fight to the summer due to COVID, all that stuff. So yeah, extended dates, but again, the concept is new fighters all get together. No one's there for more than really 2 years. And you get to have this huge event. It's a full day of fighting. This was the biggest one ever, and it was a really awesome day. So let's talk about some of the positives. One, they had duels all morning. Then we had the Warlord Tournament, and then we had the Rumble. So it was an insane amount of fighting squeezed into a day, and you could sign up for as much as you wanted or as little, giving everyone their own preference, right? I'll say that the duels format went fantastic. They did something really unique, at least in my opinion. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't fight a duel, so maybe I'm wrong. But at least in my opinion, watching it, and I did counting for one, they basically split the list into two different lists, two different fields. And the way you do a duel is everyone's given 4 duel coins, and they could challenge, I guess 4 duel tickets, I don't know. And they could challenge another fighter to a fight, and you get to your duel, and you get to up to 4 fights, right? So again, this is not about a tournament stack rank about winning. It's not about who's the best as far as like a big national tournament. It's about getting new fighters opportunity to fight different people. So you could pick sword and shield. You could do your long sword fights. There was some pole arm. There was a couple great sword fights I saw. So it was really allowing people that space to fight in a formal duel against people they've never seen before all over the country. So we had originally, I think 60 fighters signed up, but as with anything, people dropped over the months, and we were 40 plus, somewhere in there, of new fighters. I was one of the more experienced ones there. Like, I barely made the cut. I actually double checked my dates before, saying, hey, am I sure I'm good to do this, and do you want me to do it? Being as a more experienced newbie. I wouldn't have made it if it was 18 months, because I was right past that, right at that 2-year mark. So I actually got lucky. I got second Rookie Rumble. Super pumped. So duels went awesome. It was a fun event. Then we got to the Warlord Tournament. The Warlord Tournament, as a reminder, is where I pair off against one person and we fight each other. If I win, that person joins my team. I'm the Warlord of 2. Then later we fight 2-on-2s. If I win again, my team wins again. I absorb those 2. Now I'm a Warlord of 4, and that goes 4, 8, 16, and then continues as far as it goes. So with us, it got to basically 16s on 16s due to people dropping. And the way that they did it, kind of to clarify more, is that the first one-on-one fight was you had to get 3 throws. You had to fight your opponent, and the first person to get 3 takedowns was the Warlord. So I beat my guy, got 3 throws. He joins my team. And then from then on, it was one-on-one. So it's 1 round melee. So it's a 2-on-2 is if we beat that team, if we knocked them both down, we absorbed them. So I did that. I absorbed it. I became the Warlord of 4. Then my 4 team beat the next 14 that we fought. We absorbed them. I became the Warlord of 8. Right? So I was the Warlord of the 16s versus my good friend Jason, who was the Warlord of the other 16s. Then we started losing people, right? So we got to have a 5-round tournament, essentially, at that point with our 16s. The best 3 out of 5 would win that tournament, be the Warlord overall. So how did it happen? Jason won 2, I won 2, came down to a final round. Jason's team won, mostly due to attrition, which we'll get to in a second. Actually, that's not true. Jason did fantastic, but a big factor in it was attrition for both of us throughout the fighting. Jason's whole team did awesome. So that was the Warlord Tournament. Then we did the Rumble, and the Rumble is the all-v-all against anyone who wants to participate. So again, a full day of fighting, awesome experience. So here's the tournament itself, great. The culture, great. It was so good to meet so many people who are new, talk to people all over the country, see old friends, you know, other vets who I've met and been around. Paul the Barbarian, Kraken was there, you know, obviously Kearney and all his people. You know, seeing regions come up from all over the country. We had people from everywhere across the country come up for this. The Knights Hall, we had the, you know, Jersey Pine Barrens group. We had, you know, Kearney's team, the Iron Lions. If I forget his name, I'm sorry. I'm so bad at names in general, forgetting even team names. But so many groups came up. You know, Nashville, the Nashville team came up. It was just awesome to see everybody. Mick the Merc, who I've met once, but we kind of know each other from online stuff. So it was nice to see him fight and fight against him. So yeah, just amazing, right? So an amazing experience there. Here's the part that was hard, is the heat, right? Like, and we fight in all conditions, I get it. It was 97 degrees out that day and there was no shade, right? We all brought little tents. So what we had towards the later parts of the fight was just basically heat exhaustion. So by the time we got to the 16s, people had done their duels, they'd done all the Warlord Tournament, rough fights, 16s. It was no longer 16s. It was 9s versus 5s, or 4 versus 8s, or whatever it was. I think the very last, we had one round, it might have been like 7 on 5, something like that, out of 16 on each team, because people were just exhausted. Now, this is no blaming. This is a rookie event, right? Most of these people haven't fought that much. It's hard to push through that, and sometimes you shouldn't. We had a medic pull a couple people out. Very few real injuries that I saw, and I could be wrong. If someone got injured, let me know in the comments. But mostly it was just burnt, heat exhaustion, right? You're already, like, I was sunburned and sweltering before I put my armor on, and then you'd put on that, you know, snowsuit and the 70 plus pounds of armor, and man, it was rough. So that was hard, and I think that there are some things we could do to help alleviate that. I wondered in the future if we make this a 2-day event, if we're doing the duels and the Warlord and the Rumble, especially we're gonna do it outdoors. Normally the Rumble's done in January inside, but they pushed it outdoors and they pushed it down because of COVID. I think the outdoors actually makes more sense because we got a bigger list, bigger field. Yeah, so that's a thing I'd say to look at. If I was running it, again, I'd say that we need to maybe split it in 2 days if we're gonna do duels in both. And that way, the duelists aren't dying in the melees. The melee, you know, people can choose to do both. And even if you're not fighting, you're not standing around for 5 hours in the sun, 6 hours, already overheated in 90-something degrees weather, you know, humidity and all that stuff, than to have to armor up and fight. Like, today is nice, it's hot, but it's not like scalding. Like, I would much rather have been today. Yeah, so I think that's the one thing I'd say that we could have made changes on. Now, there was a ton of water and ice, and like that was super helpful. I'm glad of that. The other thing I would do is, I think that we could have done one thing a little better, and I think it would have been beneficial to do a quick rule overview with all the newbies, like kind of go through the format in depth, go through the rules, maybe, you know, now everyone should know the rules of their own sport. I get it, right? Like, you should read your rules, you should know, but these are all new people. This is some people's first fight, right? So kind of a refresher, saying here's the safety rules, here's the spaces you can't strike, kind of doing a quick, like just a double checking. I think something that from a safety standard I would have added. I think that would be beneficial. But that's really it. That's the bad, right? The bad was the heat, somewhat out of everyone's control, and just attrition, right? So let's talk about, before we get to the ugly, let's talk about how I did. So this was my second Rookie Rumble, because you know this is all about me. That's not true at all, but this is my second Rookie Rumble. I did very well. I'm very happy. I fought in the melees only, but I fought the one-on-ones. I won my round. I won all my rounds up to the 16, so I was the warlord of the final team versus the final team. And if I'm looking at my fighting, I actually saw myself using a lot of techniques I've been really drilling the last 6 months, right? I got my first pretty much a Sotogari that I've been working on, no, I'm sorry, Uchimata, that I've been working on for a while, and I got a really good clip of it in a video. I'll try to put that in right here.
Well, we actually have two Knights Halls guys against each other right now. We have Chuck Goodwin on the left and Xander Straub on the right.
Woodchuck going for a solid throw. Well done, well done. Oh, Chuck and Xander.
He got the underhook, get the foot reap, stand up. Yes! Clean takedown,
Well
Chuck.
done.
Now you're gonna look at it like it's not a true Uchimata. Like I threw the wrong leg up and stuff, but I got the underhook, the rotation, the step through, the hip flip, the things that I've been working on because I'm really bad at that, right? I tend to be like a grab the guy from behind and power him down and like try to snap down type of grappler. So I've been working on different moves, and like I did it live in an event, and even though it wasn't perfect, it ended up being more of like a Uchimata reap something. But it worked, right? So for me, that was a huge win. That's a technique I've been trying to throw in live events and use it, right? I had a real great moment of like solid striking, which was probably my highlight of the fight, is when my teammate Xander, who's a Knights Hall fighter with me, it was our 4v4s. He got the first takedown, putting us up 4v3. The other two pairs of fighters both suicided with each other, so it was a 2v1, and I just got to chop away at this guy. So I checked him later, didn't injure him, but it was a moment of like, this is just what we're here for, is like, I'm gonna win this, pain compliance. So I'm gonna put that clip here. This was a highlight for me.
It was a solid toss from Xander. Now he and Chuck have just got to work together. He's got to...
Yeah, I
that's
heard some screams of
solid.
pain. He does not like that one
No,
bit.
he is taking some solid axe shots.
Oh, and that was pain compliance.
Pain compliance at its finest.
Did you see that? Did you see those chops? Yeah, those chops are great, huh? So I'm really excited about it. That was fun. There were a lot of highlight moments for me. There were a lot of areas where I was doing stuff and I was leading an area that I felt like I had good control in. Even the part where I got beat up the most, we had I want to say a 5v9. It was either a 4v8 or a 5v9 in one of the 16s rounds. We were down by a lot, and at one point I had 4 fighters basically chopping and clinging on me, and the fact that I stood up that long and I took the hits and I distracted so that I could hopefully my other fighter or two could get a takedown really made me feel good, right? Like I was definitely felt at that moment like I was a force to be reckoned with. So that's a good feeling, right? I feel like I went out there with the expectations of, hey, I'm one of the more senior rookies here. I've done some big fights. I should be able to be someone that is noticed, and that was kind of my goal. Like, if you watch any of the video clips I just put up there, a lot of people didn't have their own tabards, you know, black breaks, you know, all looking the same. So it's hard to differentiate a little bit. I actually didn't even realize at one point I was fighting Jason, who was the captain of the team, because I thought it was a different person I was grabbing, which I probably would have approached it differently because he's a really good grappler and I couldn't throw him. But like, you know, so I had this, you know, red tabard, red helm, I stood out. I was a little bit of a target at some points, which was cool. Like, that was the point, right? I drew people to me on purpose when I could. And I was just really proud of how everyone fought that day. Like, there was the quality of the newbie fighting was amazing. There was so much good stuff that happened. This was such a great event, and it really is an opportunity for people to come and just kind of get their XP, get their experience, meet people. There was an after party after, which I stopped by for a little bit and just got to talk with, you know, new fighters, old fighters, vets, everybody, and just have kind of that camaraderie that I've missed so much in the sport. So that's the good. There's a little bit of the bad, and it's not even bad, a little bit of things that we could improve on. And there was my good, which was that I had a blast. Let's talk about the 2 uglies. The first ugly is a personal, which is I ended up actually blacking out at the end of the last round. I overheated so much that when I got taken down, I shut off. I've never had that happen. I woke up and I was actually fighting the people trying to help me up, Cat, which no, I don't think it was effective. I was kind of swinging, but yeah, that was, I fought till I couldn't fight anymore, right? And I was a little bit disappointed personally in my own inability to power through no matter what. I believe that you know, I should be able to, whether it's logical or not. That's my mentality, and I believe that I should not quit. So the fact that I couldn't go into the Rumble because I'd overheated to that level was a personal letdown for myself. But when I look at the overall day, that's my personal ugly. I think the rest of it I did really good, and I'm very proud of it, especially as I fought down men, or down fighters, I should say, down fighters in multiple rounds where we were overpowered. So it was really kind of pushing myself to my very brink. But the real ugly And this is kind of a disappointment. I didn't really want to address it, but I think it's important that we talk about things authentically. Is the fighter that won the Rumble, so the all-VL at the end, and the fighter who was out there, and he had done some good damage with his axe, just totally fine, but turned out he was not a rookie. So here's a guy who has been fighting for, it looks like, 5 years. And misconstrued their time, came out there as essentially a vet. And you got to remember, for this sport that's only, what, like 10, 12 years old in America, being 5 years into this, that's an experienced fighter, right? Like, that's someone who, you know, most of the hall fighters who are like in the top, you know, many of them have been fighting for 5 years. So you've got someone who is nowhere near a rookie status. And there's some debate on what events he did. Were they Renaissance Fair demos, whatever? But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The rule is really simple. It's, have you been in armor less than the allotted amount of time, which is the standard of 18 months. It was extended to a little over 2 years, but that's it, right? Now, if you had been, you know, a month past the deadline, fine, right? Like, but this is someone who's been in armor since 2017 is what we're seeing and looking like. Multiple people had reached out, I believe, to the people running the event from around the country saying, hey, this person's been fighting for a while. And then multiple people actually reached out to me when they found the information too. He lost the title. He won the Rumble and they stripped the title of him. And it really put a sour taste in the mouth of a lot of the new people. He was on the winning team for the Warlord, it's quotations, it was the winning team. Jason's team did fantastic, right? I don't think it was a deciding factor, so I think Jason took the win. He had more fighters in that list than I did. They came and they came when called and they fought and they won. I don't think having that fighter made any difference dramatically there. So I don't think it diminishes that, but I can understand from Jason's side feeling like I had a fighter who was a vet. Did I really win? Yeah, you did, Jason. You won. You did fantastic. Everett, you won the Rookie Rumble, right? Like, they took the title from the guy. You were the next last guy standing. You were brand new. This was like, what, this is your first day in armor, I think? Or like your first sanctioned fight. You might have done a demo fight of some sort. Like, you did amazing, man. You took some serious shots. I landed some serious shots on you with a pole arm and you stood up, right? Like, you deserved the win. So you got it. Like, this, don't let a person coming in who shouldn't have been there taint it. But I can get that feeling. For me, I didn't care about that. I feel you strip the person, you either discipline them, and I'll let the league handle that out, because, like, really, you came to sandbag, right? And that leads me to the problem I have the most, is that of all of the fighters that I talked to, that I dealt with, that hit me, that hit other fighters, that did things, the only person I heard of who there were concerns with safety issues was this guy. I got 2 very bad strikes to the back of my neck, which is an illegal zone. One time while being clearly held by 2 people, and this person had time to go get a new axe because he lost his, walk across the field, and then target while I really couldn't move. And I took a chop to the back of the neck, right? Which is, you know, illegal, right? There were other fighters who had axe neck shots that I heard of. There was a potentially illegal grapple to the back of the head where he ripped the helmet off, because you can't put your weapon behind the neck and grab both sides and pull, because it hooks underneath the helmet and tears it off. So these were all things that happened to this fighter. And my thought initially was, oh, this is a new person who's making mistakes in the heat of the moment. They're throwing shots in areas that are illegal, but it's hard. I mean, you're throwing an axe shot at a human being that's moving around. It's hard you'll miss. That happens. It's the consistency of the fact that I was hit twice in the neck in 1 round when I was down 4 to 8. They had 8 people. I was being held by multiple. That, like, I just go, man, this is weird. It's weird that the only person who I heard anything about as far as being dangerous was also the person who should know better than everyone. And those 2 pieces together, yeah, I just, you know, I don't want to rip people. That's not my goal with this channel. It's to be positive and to find good things, but, like, that sours the experience for people, right? So I think the big piece is that ugly has been addressed, you know? That fighter, yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about names because I don't care. That fighter can, you know, go away for all I care. And hopefully they handled it right. But for me, it's that, you know, the sanctity of something like this is that it's a place for people to come and have fun. There were no winners and losers at the end of the day, really, in this. It's all for fun. I came in second in the Warlord Tournament. Jason came in first. But, like, I didn't come in second. My team did, right? I beat people. They joined my team. It all gets mixed together. It's all for fun. So to come in with that mentality of basically what it felt like was I'm an experienced fighter. I know how to fight when all these new people don't, and I'm there to hurt people with the number of kind of illegal strikes. I was very lucky. Like I said, I caught my plates right. It caught the back of my helmet just like right at the lip. You can actually see a dent in it. But yeah, that's it. Like, don't be that guy. So the Armored Combat Sports does this Rookie Rumble out of Nashua, the Knights Hall, every year. I think that we should have more of these. I think we should probably have rookie events around the country. You know, it doesn't have to be just as big as the Rumble. The Rumble is kind of an iconic piece, but, you know, have an event for new fighters like out west would be a good idea, I think, like kind of people travel. But if you're a new fighter, like, come to something like this. As I said, you know, the good was great, the bad was minimal, the ugly was one person, and really, like, yeah, we'll deal with it. They'll handle it, and that's fine. I'm actually very proud of the fact of the speed at which they did handle it. Strip the title, give it to a newbie for the Rumble. So the Rookie Rumble winner is Everett out of the hall. So, like, that's awesome, right? So, but in the end, like, this was a day to celebrate, to be happy. We're finally all together, man. It felt so good to be out there fighting again. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. And I'm gonna give you a little teaser. If you stayed all in this video, there's a merch link coming pretty soon to the Woodchuck Night Store, where you can get shirts kind of like this one. This is an older one. This is hashtag Chuck Army from one of my first fights when I was a Chuck versus Chuck fight. Another friend of mine, Chuck Valves, and we made shirts for it. But we're gonna have shirts like this and gear so you can help support my channel and have some cool stuff. That's it. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Great fights, great day. Hopefully next time it's a little cooler.